Alright, let's see what's going on Facebook. What is this? No. No. No! Welcome everybody, I'm JCIV, and today I'd like to talk to you about a certain anime franchise that came to Toonami in 1998 and single-handedly increased the popularity of Japanese animation in American culture. That's right, today we're discussing Dragon Ball Z, and whether or not it actually is the greatest anime of all time. Now, this used to be a really easy question for me to answer back when I was younger and the only anime I'd been exposed to were Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Sailor Moon, and Gundam. Hands down, DBZ was not only my favorite anime of all time, it was also my favorite show ever. And when it ended, I didn't think any show would ever be able to follow in its footsteps. But in 2005, a little show called Naruto appeared, and I became an instant fan. After watching Naruto on Toonami, I became aware of anime on the internet, and realized that there were tons of great anime out there that just weren't being shown on American television. So basically what I'm trying to say is, I'm not sure if DBZ still holds that spot anymore. Now, no matter how I go about judging all these series, somebody's gonna get seriously pissed off about it. So I'm gonna do it my way. I'll pick 4 different anime series that have a general consensus of being some of the greatest of all time, and match each one up against Dragon Ball Z to see who truly is the king of the hill. Let's get started. Up first, we've got Death Note. This psychological thriller is frequently mentioned in the greatest anime of all time discussion, and I believe that it deserves every mention it gets. Now, Death Note isn't really easy to compare to Dragon Ball Z, seeing as how it's not a standard battle manga, but both of them have great characterization and story, so they do have some similarities. Now, I know you're probably thinking, DBZ has a great story? When did that happen? DBZ's story does get a lot of flack for being repetitive because the heroes are constantly getting stronger to defeat new enemies who stand in their way. And if you were just to look at the overall arcs for each story in Dragon Ball, it's sort of true. But when you're in the moment with DBZ and you're in the middle of all those epic battles, it never really feels repetitive. And to call DBZ's story just an endless cycle of repetitive battles would be highly irresponsible, seeing as how all of them have overarching themes and storylines that make them that much more enticing. Some notable examples would be when Goku fought Frieza not only for the pride of his entire race, but to avenge his fallen friends. Or when Gohan fought Cell while trying to step into the heroic shoes of his father. Getting back to Death Note, that anime is just immaculate and will without a doubt leave you on the edge of your seats. But even Death Note has its shortcomings. Spoiler alert! Now most people can admit that Death Note isn't quite the same after L gets defeated. I'm not saying that it was a severe dip in quality or anything, I'm just saying that it wasn't quite as good. And because Death Note isn't that long of an anime, consistent quality is very important. I'm going to go ahead and say that DBZ is the better between the two animes, for the reasons stated earlier, and because I think the Death Note story is more geared towards adults, while both kids and adults can enjoy DBZ's story. Moving on. Full Metal Alchemist. FMA and Hajime no Ippo were 2 shows that really got me back into watching anime back during my sophomore year of high school. FMA was like a breath of fresh air with its insanely catchy opening theme song and its perfect blend of comedy and action. I can definitely see why many tout this series as one of the greatest animes of all time. When comparing this series to Dragon Ball Z, I think that FMA does a better job of exploring its characters and tugging on your heartstrings. Trust me, there are some plot twists in FMA that will leave you like, oh my god. Full Metal Alchemist's story does sort of kind of get funky towards the end though. Mainly because the anime decided to do an original story separate from the mangas. Overall, I think the FMA is a great series. It's just not better than Dragon Ball Z. Samurai Champloo. Now this isn't an anime I would personally put in the greatest of all time conversation, but according to Google, a lot of people would. Champloo opened strong with what I would call one of the greatest first anime episodes of all time. It came out with a fresh hip-hop feel that really hadn't been felt in anime up to that point. But to me, it kind of became a chore to watch as it started dragging on midway through the series, especially when we get to Mugen's arc and we find out about his backstory. There shouldn't be too many people who think the Samurai Champloo is better than Dragon Ball Z, and of course you can probably guess by now what my opinion on that topic is, so let's move on. And finally, we've got One Piece. Now, I'm just going to get straight to the point here. One Piece probably wouldn't exist without Dragon Ball Z. Oda has admitted openly that he took a lot of inspiration from Dragon Ball Z when he created his masterpiece, and the inspiration shows. Some noticeably similar traits include the cartoony art style, Luffy and Goku's huge appetites and their childish behavior, how both Goku and Luffy accumulate friends over the course of their journeys, and in both anime worlds there's some pretty fantastical stuff like talking humanoid animals and mer people. Now, DBZ set the standard for what it meant to be a shonen manga, an accomplishment that can't just be swept under the rug. But I've got to say that One Piece pretty much improved on everything that Dragon Ball Z did during its run, and added deeper story and characterization. So guess what? I'm going to call it a tie between those two series. Both Dragon Ball Z and One Piece are at the tippy top of the anime world in my opinion. Now Naruto would probably be in this discussion if it wasn't for the fact that its anime had like 5 to 6 seasons of straight filler, and that's just not acceptable. Alright everybody, that's it for me. Be sure to rate, subscribe, comment, like, whatever the heck you want to do. But make sure you keep coming back for more because I'll be making some more videos very soon. Alright, peace. Alright, let's see what's going on Twitter. Ooh, a retweet. What the heck? No, come on, God. No.